All right, so I'm on here with the legendary kwalshyy. What's good?
What's up? Look at
Not
the
much.
screen.
No worries, no worries. So you just released billboards in November, or sorry, billboard in November. So everyone go check that out. Spotify. I'll put the link in the description too as well. So yeah, how's that been going? How was that? Just
Uh,
releasing that. How was that go?
that was good. It took me a while to get it out because of the accident and that. Like I actually recorded it last winter, but I just finally got it out. So
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you got it out. I really enjoyed. I was listening to some of it before we started this here, so I have Billboard just in my head on repeat right now. um, but yeah, so yeah, how has the response been to that so far?
good. Yeah, I had so far it's been Toronto, Chicago, and New York City were in my top played places for it. So
That's
like
badass.
that's a good response.
Oh hell yeah!
Um, yeah.
So what surprised you the most about like this record and it coming out or everything like that, or even just the process of it?
Um, it was the first time because I recorded that one with Jay Hill, which is
Oh
Jacob
yeah.
Hill.
Oh, I know
He's
Jay
from On
Hill.
Sound, right? Yeah, yeah. So he's doing the recording arts thing down in London, and that was like the first time I traveled for it and that. So it was like 4 days of being awake and traveling around, and I was moving at the same time. So it was like a lot to get it done, but it was worth it. That was probably one of my favorite tracks I've done.
That's awesome. I'm glad that happened for you because it is a great fucking track. Like it just gets in your head. Like it just sticks in like crack. You know what I mean? Just gets addicting.
That's good to hear.
Like especially like when you because I was at the show. How long ago was that? It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah,
The
it was
show
on
here in Owen
29.
Sound. That was insane. Like that was absolutely insane.
Yeah. That
I'm
was kind of surreal though, like, because it was like to go from my first show in Port Elgin, where it was like it was a good crowd, but it was like not the same sort of thing. I was just starting that scene, and then like they kind of got a bit of a scene here while I was gone, and then I came back and it was like Mad Child, and I was like, this is just like a crazy turnaround.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh yeah, that's insane. Yeah, like I could not believe that show. Like holy shit! Number one, never seen H2O that full ever. Um, yeah, it was just wild. Like I couldn't believe that. Like how many people were there, and just
Yeah, it's not guaranteed yet, but like it's sounding like we might get more shows like that around here. So we had a good
that's
response.
fucking
So
awesome. We need more of that around here because what else is there to do around here?
definitely shout out to Sabrina Lizeo because those shows would not be happening around here without her.
Fuck
So
yeah, we need more people like her. Clearly, have you guys thought of doing like one at the Harb or something like that?
I've pitched out the idea to her. I don't know what's gonna happen with that or not, but she's got it in her head. She knows.
I
She's thought about it. I've thought about it. So.
That's good. It's just sound wise, anyways. I know the Harb has a great sound system. I've seen a
Mhm.
few shows there. It's been pretty great. Like it was pretty good. Like
Yeah, I saw Favorite Drive live at the Harp
oh shit, really?
in like grade 7.
Oh wow, that was a long. How long ago was that? Like what, 2000, early
Yeah,
2000 something?
2006 or 7, yeah.
Holy shit, that was a long time ago. Holy shit. Yeah, I saw them when they came here actually for the that whole the first big music fest or whatever. I saw
Big
that.
Music Fest, yeah.
And the fuck no, that was during the next set. David Wilcox came out the next set, and there was a chick fight in the front row because of me. Literally, I'm just standing there minding my own business, and I get bum rushed from behind by these two just wasted girls, and these other people who were just standing over here to my side. They were just like, "Fuck you! He was here. He's been here all day. You guys get the fuck back here!" And blah blah blah. And then next thing you know, the one drunk girl tries to like do the sneak past me sort of thing to throw the punch, like where they push past you. She tried that. She tried that. The other girl kicked the fuck out of her, and then security grabbed her and pulled her out. Her other friend pissed off, and then like about an hour later, she was wheeled around in the front on a gurney, like she was just like all
Oh
fucked
my
up.
goodness.
What a day! What a day that was. Heat stroke and all. Oh man.
That's
So
funny.
how long have you been at this rap game now?
Show wise, I think it's a year, 2 years now.
No, you've got a
Um,
lot of stuff on SoundCloud that's been older than a year, so
yeah,
I consider
yeah,
that
so yeah.
I consider that still part of the rap game because you're still like writing and recording, right?
Yeah, so I've been doing shows for 2 years, but I started recording 13 years ago
Holy
because I
shit.
started like I started rapping, recording, writing, all that like rap wise in grade 7, so 2006 or 7. But I started writing music in like 2003 or 4.
That's awesome. That's fucking crazy. I see. I didn't really know that about you until you started coming out with like on like actually like with the whole kwalshyy thing. I didn't know anything like that about you. We just hung out and just blazed all the time.
I got pushed into doing the show thing because like I didn't expect it. When it happened, I had no tracks. Like I had beats and I had lyrics that I rapped for my friends. And that was it. That was what I had. And then they were like, "Hey, do this show." And I was like, "What?" Because they were like, "Yeah. So your friend Kennedy, she was like, by the way, my friend Kelsey's super dope and she can rap and you're putting on a show." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do a show." And that's how Port Elgin happened. And like I literally just like spit out an EP because I had to have like content for the show. And then yeah, and then it just went from there. It went well, and I had my first like second show in Hamilton like a week later. And then yeah, I know. And then I got linked to Robbie G. He's the one who helped put on the Mad Child show with Sabrina.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, and I don't know, it was good from there. He's solid too. Like he's giving me places to stay and stuff when I don't have places to stay for shows so that they could happen.
That's awesome. Like I said, we need more people like that. Like I'm not so well versed in like the hip hop community around here. I'm just starting to get into like I didn't know we had such a crazy music scene here. Like I knew we had like a lot of great musicians and a lot of great artists here, but how deep and how crazy like all the people, well, I shouldn't say crazy, but just how
It's getting a lot more adverse.
yeah, like the punk scene. I didn't realize we had like a bit of a punk scene here, and then everyone coming out of the woodwork for that show was just like holy shit. It's great. I love it. We need, like I said, we need more of that. Just it's all about just uplift. That's what this whole thing is about. But anyway, so you've opened for a couple of prolific artists, like a couple prolific rappers now, like Obi Trice and Mad Child. So what's that been like?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like for me, the fact that I got to open for Obi Trice and Swifty McVeigh from D12 is like
Fucking
a
dope.
check off my bucket list. Like
That's fucking
like, that just
yeah.
blows my mind. And like I opened for Snack the Ripper, Swole members twice, and then Mad Child by himself. But like all of those are super cool bucket list things. But for me, like the Obi Trice one hits the hardest because it's like I grew up on D12. You know what I mean?
I hear ya.
Like yeah, I grew up in Soul members too, and that's so cool. But like I don't know, it just every time I think about it, I get giddy still.
Well, just even seeing that picture with him and you is just like, what? I know
Yeah,
her.
okay, so that blew my mind too. That's probably why I get so giddy about it. But when I did my first show for Obi Trice, it was like 2 or 3 weeks after my accident. I still had a major concussion, and I was like all over the place. But Robbie got me together, and he was like, "Yo, we're gonna go introduce you to Obi Trice." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he like goes up to introduce me to Obi Trice, and he literally looks at me. He goes like, "kwalshyy, Instagram." And I was like, "Oh,
What?
okay." And I was like, "BRB, because I'm gonna go die now."
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then I did the second show in Perry Sound. And when I walked up to him to get a picture, he was like, "Yo, kwalshyy, you've got to turn the lights on, get a good one." And I was like, "This is not happening."
That's so cool that he knew who you were before you even like. How the hell do you know me?
I know. I was like, "What is happening?"
That's incredible. That's awesome. So what was and you got? And obviously Mad Child. That was cool. I knew him through Swollen Members, but that was it. Like I'd never really heard any of his solo stuff, but it was really interesting.
His last album just went like platinum or gold or something
shit,
like that.
eh?
Yeah.
Fucking
So
Canadian boys.
he like was blown up with his album like as a solo thing again, kind of. Right before that show happened, he was like, "Yeah, kind of cool."
That's fucking insane. And like
But I was raised on solo members. So, like, I think my mom was more excited about me opening for them than I
no
was. Like, the
doubt.
first time it happened, she was like, I'm going and I'm meeting them. And I was like, okay, Ma.
We were actually, before we left for the show, we were playing "Bring It Home" by Swollen Members because that's the one song me and my brother like we remember from way back in the day, and it's just like.
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
The one that I always get stuck in my head is Night Vision.
Oh, that's a good song. Oh, that's great. So yeah, I just thought it was crazy. Like he shows up to this small town venue, no security guards, no like jacked up fuckers hanging around him, and just a bunch of degenerates in the place too. Like bold, very bold.
Yeah, it was a good night though. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, that was a great night. I had a riot that night, and then went to work the next morning.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Like it was really cool to have like all the familiar faces in the crowd of like all of the people throughout the years who I have rapped to. And like been like drunk at a party and rap for them, or like sitting at my house on lunch break, or like whatever. Right?
That's awesome. Well, you've got a lot of supporters. I know that for a fact. So that's something.
And that's the love of like the small town thing.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh fuck yeah! The small town thing really helps with that, especially like coming back and doing a show like that in your hometown.
Yeah,
that's huge. That's huge. So you're talking about your accident. You got a car accident last November, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got a pretty bad. Oh, a couple.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I got my accident. I got my really bad concussion, and it took me like 4 months to recover. And I spent like a couple months trying to tell the doctors that I shouldn't be driving because my depth perception was messed up. I now have a bigger prescription. And yeah, they were like, "Oh no, like you'll be fine if you need to like try to walk if you can, like, but if it's a far distance or something, you'll be okay." And I was like, "All right." Got in an accident leaving the parking lot.
Jesus. Like a bad one, or just like a little fender bender?
No, nothing. It was like a dent.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so that happened, and then I got sideswiped in a parking lot while I wasn't even in the car.
Jesus Christ.
Both of those were rentals. I have really great luck.
Oh my god. The do not rent to list, kwalshyy.
Yeah, and then I came back in August because my head injury and stuff wasn't doing well. My money situation was tight and whatnot. That's a long story. But I came back in August and got in an accident in the first 48 hours. I was here.
Jesus.
Bumped up my head again. And now that's why I'm doing like anxiety meds and post-concussion therapy I'm looking into and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely something you should look into. That shit's no joke, especially if it's been like a serious one or something like that.
Yeah, because I've had like probably 5 or 6 concussions.
Oh, yeah, definitely look into that.
2 in the last year. And those are I've only ever treated one of them.
Jeez.
So, yeah. And that was, like, the really bad one last November.
Yeah, that shit's no joke, man. And, like, how was that really, like, has that, like, affected your writing or anything like that since then? Like, if anything like that?
It does on and off. And, like, it did for a while. It affected everything for a while, though. Like, I was like Sam from 50 First Dates the first month or two. So, yeah, like, my roommate used to come into my room because he'd be like, "So I noticed that, like, you've just been, like, sitting there and then getting up like you were going to do something and then forgetting and sitting back down for, like, 8 hours, and I wasn't sure if you'd eaten yet, so I made pasta." And I was like, "Dope, man, thank you."
Damn. So that was like a serious, like, grade 3, grade 4 concussion, something like that.
It was bad.
Jesus.
Well, because, like, I told them on the phone when the accident happened that my, like, pupils were changing. And they were like, "Okay, try to stay awake." But I know I kind of dozed off while I was waiting for cops to come because it took them, like, an hour and a half to get to me. And I remember, like, coming to with the flashlight in my face.
Fuck.
And then they let me sleep the entire hour and a ride like, to Barry's Bay. So, like, if it wasn't a bad concussion before with the moving eyes, like eyes and whatnot, it definitely was after.
That's fucking awful. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm glad you're doing better now and you're looking into like doing all this stuff, but yeah, no doubt it's been a long road to get to here.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Well, like I did the post-concussion therapy checklist. Like, should you look into this? And it was like, check, 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 like everything. And I was like, okay,
okay,
yeah,
maybe should. Time to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking brutal. Like I can only imagine.
That's why I quit drinking.
Oh, that's good. So so you've been drunk, like sober for like a year now or whatever?
No.
Well, not drinking for a year.
I quit drinking sometime in September, I'd say. I didn't really like mean to at first. It was because I was taking my Ativan before they put me on a daily med, which is like turns out also helps with like alcoholism withdrawals. Mm-hmm. So one of the post-concussion things is drinking, and one of the things I had noticed about myself since my head injury in November is like I just had no control. Like I was like drinking day and night kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just like casually by myself with people, everything, all the time. And I was like doing fine, could still handle my drinking, but it was like a thing I realized I had less control of since the head injury. So then September when I was taking the Ativan, it was easier. I started to like slow down and stop. And then eventually I just quit entirely. And like it's been good, but since I started the daily anxiety med, I've noticed it's like I've never like craved booze or anything before. I've never been that kind of person, and like now since I don't have the Ativan to help with the withdrawals on that anymore, I am. Like every time I see a beer can or think of booze, I crave something sweet. And like I want to drink, what I want to do is drink it, and then I'm like, no, go eat a chocolate bar instead. I'm like,
yeah, that's both of those things. What you said there, the after the concussion going wild with the drinking, that's very common. I think that's a lot of theory. There's a lot of theory behind all that. I don't know a lot of that. And the second thing, yes, you crave sugar after you've quit drinking, especially if you've been drinking a lot, and that's a lot of like recovering alcoholics have that too. So yeah, that makes sense. That's good I'm glad that's something you've done.
Yeah, like I still smoke weed, but I'm just not doing any of that drinking anymore. It's just, well, like, at least until this whole, like, I can't help but crave it all the time thing passes. Because, like, right now, it's literally, like, from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to bed, I'm battling with it. And I never used to be that kind of person, so I'm like, yeah, no, we don't want to go there.
No, that's good. That's good that you're doing that, though. It's a bitch.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges to being a rapper from Canada? Because I know, like, Drake really, like, is Canada basically when it comes to music. So what are some of those challenges like?
I think a lot of it is like, and it's like any place, like even if you were in the States, like if you're not in one of like the big city or like metropolitan areas, then you get into like bigger barriers. Because if you want to branch out in that, you either have to be really good at your marketing aspect, or you have to be branching out and actually moving out and doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just gonna get lost in the mix of it, right? Because the thing is that all the big cities, there's so many artists and they're already in the spot to get seen. So like it's not really like a barrier that's exclusive to Canada. Because like I find in Canada, unlike some other countries, it's actually easier for us to get there because we're already kind of like that one step next to the States in terms of like the Hollywood scene and stuff.
Fair enough.
Our main competition really besides that would be like the British invasion.
That is definitely something. And does coming from OS fuel you or fuck with you? Like creatively speaking?
Bit of both.
Agreed.
Because I find it fuels me because it's a small town and everybody sees what you're doing and you've grown up with everybody. So like for the most part, everybody supports you, right? Mm-hmm. But I also find from being from a small town that there's a lot of people where it's like, if it wasn't for social media, nobody would, like those people wouldn't be in our lives anymore. Like, and it's a mutual thing, right? Like it would be like somebody I haven't talked to or seen in 8 years, but they see everything online and are there. And so they go, well, I have the right to give my word and judge it. You totally do, and that's totally cool. Do your thing. But it's like, you have to find that barrier between like the opinions and the people who are actually pushing you and the people who are like posing as pushing you.
Yeah.
That are actually trying to like stop it. You know what I mean?
Well said. Well said.
Like, and that goes to like life and anything. It's not just like with music. That's life in general. But like, it's one thing I've noticed. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I went out and I met a lot of people this year, and it was one of the like best years of my life, regardless of everything that went on, because I met some amazing people and did some really cool stuff. But it was also one of the like hardest, loneliest years of my life, because when I moved away, it was a huge rude awakening to who's actually going to hold through. And then when I came back, it was like an even ruder one.
I know exactly
like,
what you mean.
In a good way, and there's so many people I love and appreciate, but it's just kind of like, it's been a learning curve.
You find out who your real friends are.
Yeah.
I had the same thing because I had to move back. I moved back here, 2 years ago. Same situation, housing situation, went tits up, had to come back. And yeah, it was, even though I was with my ex now, but it was lonely because I didn't like I had like maybe like my brother and like Pat and maybe like a few other people, and that was pretty much it. And it was just like, man, like what happened?
It's that feels lonely in a room full of people kind of lonely though.
Fuck
you know what I mean? Like that, like there's been like a lot of self-reflection and a lot of like outward reflection and like a lot of growth this year, I think.
That's good. I feel the same. Definitely 2019 has been a good year in some regards, but it's also been a fucked up year in a lot of regards, but it's all been good because it means change, right?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
that's how I'm trying to look at it anyways at this point in the game. Fuck, got a few more weeks left of this shit, eh? And there goes the decade.
The roaring 20s.
Oh, Jesus. Let's just hope for...
Peace out 2019. Happy National Emo Day.
I saw that post on your Instagram today.
303 or something.
Don't trust a hoe, never trust a hoe.
What was that meme I posted the other day? Where I was like, I can't believe 303 told us not to trust a hoe, and we still do.
They told us, and we still didn't fucking learn, right?
I love meme.
I know. I follow you on both. I think. Do you have one on Instagram too?
Yeah,
yes.
I haven't posted to it as much recently. I used to be like really up with it, but. You know.
Oh, I follow both of them. It's fucking hilarious. I get some great memes from that. I get to send people, so I love it. Is that all part of like the creative process too? Just the memes and all that?
Yeah, memes are like my happy place, and like, like music is too. But like memes are like, I don't know. I can like shrug stuff off with memes and like reflect when I read memes. Like, there's all kinds of memes. There's funny memes. There's like positive memes, there's cringeworthy memes, and you can just like any mood. You got a meme.
Oh fuck yeah. If I've learned,
I don't know, it's like for like my downtime when I'm just chilling and whatever.
That's awesome. If I've learned anything from Reddit, there can be any type of memes for any type of situation. Like it's pretty amazing what they've become. Like from just like stupid little pictures you see on the internet to now like this is how they're actually getting theory and like political discourse across.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, like they that was a huge thing that happened during the election, actually. A whole bunch of meme pages got banned because they were posting political memes, and then they kind of like a bunch of them proved like we weren't being biased. There was no pushing. We were just posting politics in general. And then they all fought it and like did the like, meanwhile, there's celebrity after celebrity telling you what to vote for.
Oh, yeah,
right?
because that's the right kind of influence.
And you're like,
right?
So why aren't these people getting banned? And it's because they realize the influence that people who post memes have. Like, they get through to a crowd all the way from preteen years to like up into their 60s. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It's so versatile because, like I said, like you said, it can be used for anything. Like it can be used for funny, it can be used for laughter, it can be used for all that. But I think the big thing is when it has become now used for that political discourse, because like you can communicate these what is like a 200-page book about theory, and you can do it in like 3 sentences with a couple cute pictures.
But you can also fuck with people and like put out a whole bunch of false news out there that people will just gobble up because it's a meme and they don't even realize and they don't research. And it's like,
but we can also say the same.
Cheater, like, So
we can also say the same about like mainstream news as it is, and it has been that way for
mainstream news. Don't get me started.
exactly. It has been like that for fucking years. So what are we really saying here? It's just gotten a lot more because of the internet.
Indeed. I'm sorry. Did we forget that there's pedophiles? Like, why are we worried about this?
Epstein didn't kill himself.
I guess it's like stepping stone, though.
Yes.
Like, you got to do this so that you can get to that point, so that you can work on that, and we'll get
You
there.
have to. It's like
maybe one day people will realize that that's a little more important.
one day, that's the hope, right? Like that's why I go crazy sometimes. Just like, man, like it's right there. Everything is literally right there. We can see it, we can smell it, and we can feel it, but we're just not there, and I don't get it.
Yeah. And like for me, it's not even a matter of like what side is corrupted that matters. It's like there's corruption, period.
Yeah, that's it. We're fucking ourselves up and we're killing the planet at the same time. This is and this is progress. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like it just makes me want to go back, just start a commune out in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the back of one of these backwoods back here, and go off like at that. So what got you into rapping, like and interested, like influence wise? I know you're a big Wu-Tang fan.
Not as big as Bane.
True story.
Honestly, I grew up on it. Like my mom liked it. She's liked Beastie Boys and Soul Members and all of that. Like first time I ever heard Far Side, I'm pretty sure it was thanks to my mom.
I fucking love the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, I got her Paul's Boutique on vinyl for Christmas one year. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I like grew up on it, and I was always into music. Like I'm pretty sure I was singing before I could properly walk. But like it was grade 6 or 7 when I discovered Tech Nine. I got super obsessed with strange music in general.
No doubt.
And then shout out to Brendan Mueller. He's the one who showed me Tech Nine.
Fucking good guy.
And then, basically from there, Classified dropped Hitchhiking Music in 2006 or 7. And Scott and I, because I'm from the East Coast, right? Scott and I were best friends, and we were kind of like, yo, he's Canadian, he can do it, he's from the East Coast, so can I. And like Scott and I just started writing raps together, and we went from there.
I remember those days when you guys were rapping together. That was the best. I remember those days.
That's why I keep that line in my song where it's like, hey, Walshy, McMaster, blah, blah, the whole thing about like popularity be rise as long as everyone is looking at them. That whole part.
Oh, yeah.
I keep that in there because I'm like, it's like my little homage to the good old days when we were rapping.
You gotta have it. That's fucking hilarious. I still remember when Scotty used to do those freestyles, like when Connor was living with him, just doing all these things. It was just
I think he still does on the side.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, like up on SoundCloud, I know he's still got some, and there's like a couple apps you can use to do like rap battles with people all over the place.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah, so he uses that all the time.
It's a brave new fucking world we're living in, Kelsey. Holy shit.
It's crazy.
Shout out Scotty McNasty.
Yeah.
Oh man, so Wu-Tang, Classified. What else you got? What else you got for influences?
A lot. So like, yeah, Wu-Tang, Classified, Strange Music, Eminem, D12, NF has been a big one since I discovered him, and his new album speaks to my soul.
Oh yeah?
It's like honestly probably going to be one of the biggest influences for like music that I listen to through making the album I'm working on now.
Oh fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any updates on that yet, or is that still under wraps?
It's actually a plan that most people already knew.
Okay.
I had been working on it since high school, and then a whole bunch of train of events happened after then, and I kind of had the like conclusion to the album, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So it's gonna be a long time before it comes out because it's kind of my baby, but
Understandable.
It's gonna be like kind of telling the story about back then and that, and like how I've come to terms with shit, I think I'm like playing with some names, but like Danny's song that's currently in acapella,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to have that on the album. It's kind of going to be like a big part of it. Oh gosh, sorry, that was my cat.
It's all good.
Yeah, so I hope to put that one on it. I think I'm going to probably call it Closure for like the song itself. The album I'm playing with names, but the one that keeps sticking in my head and that I'm like actually getting pictures for album ideas is Drugs and Drama.
That's awesome.
So
Great alliteration. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you said you've been working on it since high school, so it's really something you've been working on for a long time, like a true coming of age story for yourself.
Yeah, kind of.
That's fucking...
Like I kind of did like the first few tracks were like fun and whatever, so you could bump to them to get the crowd going and that. But like my whole goal with this album is like give people a taste of where I come from and what I've been through, kind of thing.
That's awesome. That's great. So you said you're from the East Coast. Where were you born?
I was born in St. John's, Newfoundland, but I don't remember living there because I was only there for 5 months. Then we moved to Nova Scotia, and we lived in a few different places on the East Coast because my dad was in the Navy. But I remember living on Chebucto Circle in Eastern Passage, which is like suburb or like outskirt of Halifax.
That's fucking awesome. I didn't know that about you, actually. I heard that one of your lines.
I moved here in '99.
Nice. I heard that one of your I heard that line raised in the East Coast in one of your songs. I was like, huh.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, I only met you in high school through my brother. That's it, right? So
right, yeah.
And that was a whole different ball game back then. He was such a mean fucker to you back then. I couldn't even believe it.
Remember when he pushed me down the stairs?
Yes. She straight up got pushed down.
I still just laugh about it.
She got
we have
pushed...
the most messed up friendship, but I love it.
And now he's not such a shit nowadays. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you are straight up bullying this young lady, Connor. What are you doing?
She has you over every day after school, and then you come to school and you treat her like garbage.
So weird type of love, I guess, right? Oh man, that's hilarious. So, what of your songs that you have out right now means the most to you, and why?
That's hard.
I know. It doesn't have to be one.
I'd say probably either O Sound. Oh, that's hard. Either O Sound or Billboard. But, like, I also want to say Divine Takeover because that was, like, the first one I came out with.
That's a fucking dope track.
That was the very first track I dropped. And, like, full track. And Billboard is, like, my pride and joy because I put a lot into it. And it vibed well with Jay Hill. And it was, like, working with somebody who got me because I've worked since high school. And, like, for me, it was kind of like, yay, 1 year post-accident, dropped the track finally, woohoo!
No,
then, like,
fucking awesome.
And then O Sound just bumps. Like, I'm just proud of it, and I love it.
It does. It bumps so hard, especially if you're from Owen Sound and you know what she's talking. You know what you're talking, like, you're talking about in the song. It's like, you painted a really good picture of the town, though, I feel. Like, you do it justice.
No.
It's not, it's not like it's all just the sketchy bullshit. It's like you give summer folk props and you give like the music and the scene. Yeah, other folk too. Got to give other folk props too. Can't just have all them just all the summer folk people around here. Holy hell. So let's see. So do you got any crazy touring stories for me? Or any crazy show stories?
What's my craziest one? I got a couple, I guess.
Go nuts.
When I did my first Toronto show, I had a bit of a hiccup with my USB.
Oh.
We pulled it off, but that was like nerve-wracking. because I had like the issue with my USB. I was in Toronto. I had to like call my mom and be like, you need to email me whatever tracks I have on my computer right now so I can make something work. Because I was like, I'm in Toronto on a boat. Like, there's nothing I can do here. I have no set list. I'm like crying to my mom. I'm like, where have a boat? Please help me. My go on in like 15 minutes.
Oh, shit.
And yeah. But no, she sent me whatever I had. It was like, I think 1 or 2 of my real tracks, something I never released. And then I did my acapella, and I was just like, we're gonna make it work. Spit something on those lyrics, on that beat. And then, yeah. It went good though. Like, we had like, there was a sound hiccup, so the last part of the show I was like screaming over the music with the mic down my side because I was like, it's not working, I'm over this. But like, it went good because like, even with all those hiccups, and that was my very first Toronto show, and I remember it being like a small crowd of like, I'm gonna say probably 10 people, 15 people at the time. It was earlier on in the night though. And then I started playing and they were like, whoa, chick who spits. And all of a sudden the people from like the upper floors were coming down and I was like, crowd. And it was kind of cool. But like, yeah, that's probably one of my crazy stories because I was like, I'm either sinking or swimming quite literally right now. And then it went good. So
It's fucking crazy. Literally have to pull it out and like, I gotta go. I need you to come in clutch for me right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm
the other best one was Obi Trice the first time because I was like 2-3 weeks out from my accident and I I had vertigo so bad for the first 2 weeks after my accident that I was like walking backwards sometimes.
Oh shit.
And so I like just started walking forwards and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drive from Pembroke to London now and do this Obi Trice show with concussion. So I did that. I didn't have a place to stay, so I was like gonna sleep in my truck and Robbie's like, no, you're gonna stay at our Airbnb. And I was like, cool, thanks, man. And then do this show, go on stage and like, because my memory was really bad after my accident. That was the thing I was nervous about the whole time was like, what if I don't know my lyrics? Like, what happens if I just, like, completely fuck up? So I go on stage, and I literally look at the crowd, and I'm like, I have no idea what my lyrics are. I'm just kind of, like, staring, and the beat goes, and in my head I was like, hopefully when it drops, I know what to say. And then the beat dropped, and the words just started falling out of my mouth. And I was like, okay, cool. So, like, when I think about things, and I'm still like this now, when I think about things, I can't grasp what I'm trying to say. But if I just let it flow, bang on. So, like, I was like, just don't think about it. Just keep going. And I just flowed through it. And then it ended up being, like, one of the hypest crowds I've ever had. And then the next time when I opened for Obi, Robbie put me on right before him. Because that one had gone so well. I was, like, whatever, it was like me and then Rob, whatever, and I was like, this is so cool. But yeah, it was like a very scary moment on stage where I was just like, oh god, I have no idea.
Deer in the headlights type thing, like, oh shit. I've had that same sort of thing with when I was doing spoken word back in the day for like in front of the auditorium and stuff like that. Like I'd have it maybe about 5 or 6 minutes before I went on. It was just like shit. But the thing I always tried to remember is just the first line. Once you get the first line out, everything will just come after that.
Yeah, that's what I always do right before I'm going to be on, like, the person before me or something. I'll, like, run into the bathroom, and I play my set list, and I do, like, verse 1 is, like, blah, 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 first line, second verse, and, like, I just run through it in my head really quick. And then I go out and I do it, and yeah.
Well, and even when, like, if you've been practicing it with the music, as soon as the music hits, it's just going to be like a Pavlovian response. You're going to be able to, like, bring up, like, the lyrics.
Yeah.
I've actually fucked up one time performing live. I was playing, like, an open mic set. I was playing Cocaine Blues by Johnny Cash. I forgot the third of the song, and I just fucking ended it. I was like, okay, we're going to go on to this next one because I'm too drunk and forgot most of that.
Too.
That's panic.
My one I always do, like, I did this actually at the Own Sound show because I have, like, for some of them there's different versions of instrumentals, and it's like the one that actually got used is the recording and the one that didn't. And every so often I'll accidentally put the one that didn't on my set list.
Mhm.
And then somebody plays it, and I'm up on stage, and I'm like, oh no.
Shit.
So I'll do like first two verses, and then I'm like, I cut. Y'all don't get the third one.
That's hilarious. That's good though. It kind of brings up the hype. Okay, you don't get any more for this. Come on, you gotta bring it for this next song, or I'm the fuck out of here.
Right?
There you go. Just use it, just hype you up, sort of thing.
And I did that at the UPlift show, actually. Because, like, my whole thing is, like, they're always like, you gotta pretend like you didn't fuck up. Like, just, like, act like you meant to do it.
That's what they taught me in drama class.
I had a moment, and I, like, because I was having huge issues with slurring my words, which I still do sometimes after my accident. And that started to happen on stage. Mind you, I had been drinking and stuff, and I wasn't supposed to be. I just had an accident and concussion. But, like, yeah. And I started, like, slurring and stuff. And then I, like, literally did, like, yo, no, like, cut that song back. And they were like, what? And I was like, I can do better than this.
Let's run that back.
And then did it again.
Oh, that's hilarious. At least you got to, like, fuck this. Let's spin that one more time. Let's try that again. Yeah, what they taught me in drama class was you never acknowledge your fuck up. You just keep going on like nothing happened. But sometimes you got...
My whole gimmick kind of is, like, embrace my fuck ups. Like, what's up?
Sometimes you have to acknowledge them. Sometimes you just have to acknowledge those fuck ups because it's just like the audience saw it, I saw it.
And, like, if I didn't think I could do better, if it was something minor, like a stumble or something, I would just keep going. But, like, in a case like that where I'm like, nah, these people are not going to remember me this way. I can do better than this. I'm going to, like, call myself out and be like, nah, I'm
there you go.
Subpar right now.
Oh boy, that's crazy. It's definitely got to be harder for like rapping because you not only have to hit the beat and keep the flow going, but you got to remember the words for the flow as well too. Like,
yeah.
Like at least with playing the
I've always been good at memorizing words. So.
Well, it's good. That definitely helps. And no memory is like, have you had any memory issues since the? Well, you clearly have because we talked about that earlier. But like any like. But, like, any, like, serious memory issues, like, lost, like, parts of, like, life or whatever, like, past lives?
Kind of. Like, I used to, and I've actually had, like, friends of mine, like, my buddy Sav in Petawawa, Andrew Savadan. He's, like, a close friend of mine, has been for a few years, and, like, I went to see him for one of the first times after my accident, and was, like, talking to him and ranting to him and telling him stories in my head like I always do. But, like, I kept calling myself out because I get very, like, beat around the bush, start telling one story and then another, and, like, then I can't get back to my point and I forget it and whatever. And he kind of, like, pointed out to me as I was leaving, he was like, I can tell the difference. Like, I used to remember every detail about my life from, like, the age of 3 up. Like, could tell you where I was sitting, the smell, the everything. And now it's very, like, vague. And a lot of memories are things you ask me about. Even if the memory comes to my mind, it doesn't come out of my mouth. Like, people will ask me things, or, like, not even memory, just things in general, and, like, some days I'm fine and I can answer and I can talk and I can do all this, and then other days my head literally just goes, I don't know. But in my head there's, like, a whole sentence or a whole paragraph, but I don't know is what comes out of my mouth.
That's definitely gotta fuck with you a bit. That's sketch. That's crazy, man. Brain, like I said, brain injuries are no fucking joke. Holy shit. Yeah, so do you have any crazy OS stories for me? Because I know we've got billions between the two of us. We don't have to use. We don't. I can sense. I can cut names out and do all that as well. So don't worry about that. We can also use euphemism for people if you need.
I don't even know where to begin. There was the time the one girl was gonna try to fight my friend.
Oh.
And she was, like, known as a bully. And I remember, like, she was a lot bigger than me, and I've never been in a fight, like, not a real one, to this day. Unless you count that time I got dogpiled at Pizza for trying to stop one. Or the time I got picked up by my throat, but that's another story. Yeah, no, this girl was, like, kind of a bully trying to bug my friend. Actually, it was a couple of my friends, and I got fed up with it and, like, stood up to her, like, in person. and on social media where they were doing it, and they didn't like that. So they started trying to bug me for a while, but I kind of like banked on the like, you're not going to actually do it. Like, you know what I mean? And they didn't. They never, ever, ever did. And I was the only person that they didn't screw with after that.
Because you stood up for yourself.
And that's what they told me. They like messaged, and we're fine now. Like, I like her. She's cool. But like, she's grown from that, obviously. We're in our friggin' 20s now.
So.
But yeah, no, she came to me like years later and messaged me and did the like full-on apology and was like, you're literally the only person the entire time I was in high school that ever stood up to me. She was like, mad respect for that because I was a dick. And I was like, you know what, man? It's no big deal. Because at the time, it didn't even cross my mind. I was like, what is she even talking about? And then we actually like hung out and like talked about everything. And I was like, oh yeah, right, okay. But I was like, whatever, shit happens. And like, you acknowledge it, whatever. And like, I totally was a mouthpiece in high school. But I like to be a little bit cocky and think that I was like a mouthpiece for all the right reasons. It was like, you can push me around, that's fine. Just don't push my friends around.
Yeah, I get you. That's hilarious. Well, that's how you got to beat bullies, right? Like, don't take their shit.
And that's the other thing too, is like, I use the word bully, but it's not really a word that means anything to me. Because for me, it's like, yeah, there are bullies and they do exist, but like, you're only really, like, I get it, and there are extreme cases and people go through really horrible stuff, but like, in my mind, everything that I've been through, and in every case where somebody would look at it like, oh, she got bullied, I'm like, I don't see it that way. I just see it as like, oh, yo, I see your character, deuces, don't care about your opinion anymore.
Yep. I didn't get fucked with in high school. I got fucked with before that, like public school, like elementary school. I got fucked with a lot, but not in high school. People thought I was a school shooter.
I had a bully in elementary school till like grade 3, and then I was selling chocolate bars for baseball once with my friend Anna, and he lived in a neighborhood. And when he answered the door, he didn't realize who it was going to be. I don't know why, but he was, like, naked. And then it was kind of just, like, ever after, it was like, yeah, you can't bully us anymore.
I've seen you naked, fool.
No, but then, yeah. See, that's the thing, is everybody who's ever done anything like that to me, in pretty much all cases, is, like, come back later and been like, yo, you know what? And if it's been, like, a case where I'm, like, I may have overreacted, man, I'll generally come back and say it.
I can't say the same. The one guy who fucked with me a lot in public school, he's just out of his mind, like crazy, like legit crazy. So, and the other guy, and I just remember I got stabbed in high school too. So there you go. Not something crazy serious, but no, he was also like just another fucked up kid, but still didn't get an apology for that either.
Actually, craziest high school story is still Brooke and Vickers' party.
Which one?
The one that ended up on Crime Stoppers in the news.
I wasn't at that one. You're gonna have to tell me that one.
That was their big field party, and I don't remember what happened, but somebody's truck got like smashed into an L shape, and
okay, this is starting to come back to me.
Yeah, broke his jaw and got airlifted to London. And that was the night got freaking stabbed in the stomach and walked like all the way to Pizza or something like that from Vickers. And like, I left before any of this happened.
I'd hope so.
That's the earliest I've ever left a party in my life. I left at 11:30. Love Brooke to death. She's my best friend, and it was a fun night. But woo, did it ever hit the fan?
No shit.
I remember like sitting on the ledge where the pool's supposed to be, and I'm like down for the count. And it's like 11:30ish, and I'm like swinging my feet back and forth, sitting with Omar. I look over, and there's Chad being dragged along, and his mouth is just hanging. And I was like, oh, time to go. Hope you're okay, Chad. I'm getting out of here.
That's fucking crazy. I think now that you started telling me bits and pieces, I remember somebody telling me some stories of that. Holy shit.
Yeah. I think that was a high school party, or was that after high school? I can't remember.
I think that may have been after, but how the fuck?
But not long after.
How the fuck would I know?
Was there. There's pictures on Facebook of him wearing my leather jacket.
That's hilarious. I was probably in university at the time or whatever at that point.
Oh, he might have been, or it may have been that summer before he left.
I didn't know it ended up on fucking Crime Stoppers though. That's insane. Oh my god, this kind of like the London riots, how a bunch of boys around here started that one. No names,
Like,
no names mentioned.
That was on the picture for the paper.
I didn't know about that. Like, I obviously saw the footage and all that at the time, but I didn't know about that. The local connection around here to that. No names mentioned. No, fuck yeah, that's yeah. Like I didn't realize that local connection until I think my brother or someone told me about that. I was like, huh.
Actually, fun fact about being from Own Sound in the rap industry, you wouldn't realize it, but that actually gives you some street cred.
You know what? I see it.
I've been in multiple cities where I'm doing shows, and like other people or other artists come up to me, and they're after I do like my set, because I do O Sound, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is like about my hometown, and I do O Sound, and then they come up to me after and like, you don't tell people you're from Own Sound. And I'm like, you do if you're like, I was like, if I was a folk singer or something, no, but like I'm a rapper, so yeah, I do tell them because it makes you look at me like that. Touche.
Well, that was the thing. Like in university, either you had no idea where Own Sound was, or if you knew it, it was
Exactly.
I can see it getting street. That's good to know now.
Right?
Yo, where you from, dog? I'm from Own Sound. Oh shit. That's awesome. That's crazy. Well, it makes sense. If you grew up here, it makes sense.
We got a lot more here. If you want to know about it, listen to my track.
We also have really good weed here too.
True that.
Yeah.
Oh, but that is one thing I truly miss about living in Pembroke. Because in Pembroke, it's a lot like here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of why I moved there. It's an easy transition. And a lot of people I know there because they were in Meaford or here first. So it was an easy transition. But, like, so they have, like, a reserve, same as we have here,
Yep.
close to us. But on theirs, it's, like, dispensary after dispensary after dispensary after dispensary.
That's awesome.
Like, I haven't even been to the mall, and I lived there for 9 months.
Who needs the fucking mall?
Yeah, it was like, oh, amazing. But it was dangerous. Like, I'm low-key a little bit convinced that that's why I'm on anxiety meds now, because when I was dealing with the head injury before, I had an endless amount of dispensaries and endless amounts of weed and edibles all the time. And there was never anxiety. It was just like, and then I came back home and it was like, no dispensaries and you're broke and like it's harder to get now because I'm like still really good when I do, but it's harder and I gotta wait for it and stuff. And then it was like, boom, hello anxiety, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, the one day I actually looked at my friend because I kind of like forgot that they were edibles and I was just like eating them, and I started doing all the math and I was like, I've eaten something like 600 or 800 milligrams in the last like 3 hours. And I was like, I'm in for a treat because I was still smoking the whole time. But I laughed at the time because I was like telling him my theory about, this was my friend Sav again, but I was like telling them my theory about like I always have anxiety, but like I feel like the reason I need to be medicated now is because I don't have this easily available marijuana. And then I was like sitting there ranting and raving onto him all lively, and then I did the math and I was like, yeah, I've probably eaten and smoked like 800 milligrams altogether now. It's like, I'm in for a treat, but I don't have anxiety right now. Yeah, I found like I'm not really hanging out with people as much just like since I stopped drinking, and like
that happens.
Not even like, I think I'm superior and I don't drink and you do. It's just like, for me, because it's so hard right now, like, unless it's going to be a group of people who actually, like, support the fact that I'm not drinking fully, then I can't go out with them while they're doing that because I know as soon as it's offered to me, it's going to be like
a trigger.
A battle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I've already had a few times since I've tried to quit where I've gone out with people and that has happened. Like I've drank the end of somebody's cooler, drank something else, and then it's been like a 3-4 day battle of like not just going on a bender when I wake up. So I'm like, yeah, no, like my friend Matea.
Yep.
They drink in front of me and stuff, but they're super subtle about it.
Yeah.
And like they don't offer me. They always look at me and they're like, "Do you want water or ginger ale?" Like they never anything. And like if anybody asks me, they're like, she's the first one to be like, "No, she doesn't drink." So like I like having that support.
You need that support, especially if it's something like a physical addiction at this point. Can you hear me if I say
Yeah, and because like I can sit there at her place and just do art, like throw on the headphones and work on beats while everybody's around, or like paint or whatever and do my thing, and nobody bothers me about like, oh, she's not uppity and dancing and drunk like us. Like they're just like, Kelsey's doing her thing. So I kind of like having that space.
Yeah, that was definitely the hardest part about not drinking for that period of time. I didn't. Was just, yeah, the social aspect really fucks up. Like it's crazy how alcohol really revolves around that social aspect. And when you're not drinking, it's just like, what's wrong with you? Sort of look at sometimes you get from people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know a few people have been like upset with me recently because there's been situations like where people wanted me to go out for some event, like a birthday or a anniversary thing or something like that, where I just haven't. And like I've completely intended to go, but like because I'm battling really hard with my anxiety from my head injury and stuff, and I'm battling with the drinking thing, I find it's really hard if I get the anxiety before because I'm worried about caving on drinking. So I'll like miss the part where everybody's going to be drinking, but then I go out and I don't want to have to answer the questions about why I did that. And then like, so I end up just like sitting at home going like, I'm really sorry, blah, blah, blah. And then like, yeah.
People
and you
don't
feel bad, and I do, but like right now for me, because of my head injury and the anxiety and everything and all of it together, I kind of just need to focus on that. So like I shouldn't be isolating myself in those situations and I should be trying to get out more. But right now I need to find myself like a happy medium, like a healthy balance of like, this is the healthy way to go out and social and the unhealthy way to go out and social, and you're not doing that anymore.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It's a total resocialization process when you're quit it and like, you know, this is gonna go like, you know your triggers basically. Like I hate to keep using that word, but like that's the easiest word I can think of.
It's true.
Like you know what's gonna set you off. You know exactly, if I drink this, I'm gonna drink that and 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 drink that, and then I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So you gotta, it's just a part of knowing that and then re-socializing yourself, especially like we were talking about with friend groups and stuff, and knowing who your real friends are. Every day's a battle. Fuck, like mental illness is no joke, but also fucking alcohol, like, or any like addiction like that on top of that or anything like that really does not help things.
Yeah. And it's nice like that, like on this podcast and stuff, and that people have like asked me about it and stuff, because I find with like post-concussion syndrome and head injuries, people really don't understand it a lot. Because like you show up fine on MRI, so you should be fine. And it's like, yeah, but what, we don't know enough about concussions for them to show up, because it's like a bruise you can't see. That's the way the doctors explain it. And it's hard because you go through so many different curves of symptoms, and it's different for every head injury. So it's literally just like a guessing game. Like when I first got my head injury, we thought I had frontal lobe damage. And then I got an MRI and they were like, nope, actually it's just post-concussion syndrome. I went through a phase of having PTSD symptoms, where I was having like flashbacks, sleep paralysis, whole 9 yards. And that's come and gone a bit here and there. But like now it's just mostly the like jumbled thought process and anxiety and stuff. But like that's the thing, is it's been such a like, I don't know what it's going to be week to week or day to day, what I'm going to be like necessarily. It's getting a bit better now because it's time's gone, right? But yeah, I don't know, I find it's a hard one. Like people don't understand how head injuries work a lot. Like they just think like, oh yeah, whatever, post-concussion syndrome, it's just like anxiety, take a pill, you'll be fine. It's like, yeah, but it's a matter of finding what's going to work for that person, because everyone's head injury is different after.
If people knew,
Like-
if you knew like concussions, like anything, and you'd say post concussion syndrome is nothing, you're a fucking moron. Like post concussion syndrome is awful. Like I
And
listen.
it can be lifelong too. Like
I
it can like never go away. It's like
there's
those are things you'll have to live with.
there's a couple fighters I've listened to. One in specifically, Joe Valtellini. He's a Canadian kickboxer, or was a Canadian kickboxer, and that's why he retired post concussion syndrome. Like he couldn't get out. He literally would have to lay in a dark room all day, all night with nothing on, just because that was the only way he could live. It was fucked.
That was me for a couple months actually. For the first like 2-3 months or so, maybe 4, I don't even know how long it was, of my head injury. That's how my meme page was born. I wasn't even supposed to be doing that, but I was like laying in bed in the dark, bored for like a month or two, and I was like, I'm done with this. And I made my meme page. Was kind of influenced by like white people humor and the recovering problem child. Shout out Sam. Because he kind of got like the guy who runs the recovering problem child. I'm going to say this straight out, pretty much low key got me through the hard stage of my head injury.
That's fucking awesome.
Because I was like bored in bed, nothing to do, and it was just like day in, day out. He was like, yeah, we're just gonna talk every day. And I was like, you are the bomb, because you're one of my favorite meme pages. He supported my meme page from day one. Like he's been there since like it was up in the first like 24 hours. And honestly, it would have been a boring couple months if I didn't have that. It was like, because like, yeah, there was still people I was talking to, and Tice would call me and stuff, but it was like, yeah, every day, you know, you're going to be laughing with your favorite meme page while you sit in bed hating everything. So it was like a thing to look forward to. It's kind of dope. So I've told them before, but like I'm always going to appreciate them.
So do you really have like a process for your like writing or anything like that? Do you have like any specific rituals or any like exercises you go through?
Kind of. I've got a strict rule of I don't force anything. So like my buddy James, because I don't have a working computer right now, so I've been making beats at his place. And he said one of the first things he noticed about I'm doing that slur thing right now. But one of the first things he noticed about like when I work is I'll like work on a portion of a beat, and then as soon as it's like not working and I'm forcing it, I just save and go new project and start working on something else. Like I just kind of like, I like things to flow. Like I don't want to make it work. I want it to work on its own.
I'm the same way with my writing. It's terrible. But
like I also find like I get like sorry, lady talk, but right before my time of the month is when all of my best bangers are written.
Interesting.
like those few days before when I'm feeling real emotional and angsty and everything
it's just
else.
all coming out of you at that point. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense now that I think about it. That's awesome. Do you have any like hidden themes or any meaning, like hidden meaning to your music, or is it just like just yourself trying to express yourself basically about you?
I do sometimes, like, for example, actually, Danny's song that I do the acapella at my shows right now, it's written like it's the story of, like, one or two people. Like, it's, like, the guy who brought everybody down, the girl who was affected by it kind of thing, right? That's kind of how it's written, first verse, second verse. But the song itself was actually written over the course of, like, years. And it's about 12 or 13 different people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like, I'm not obviously gonna name people or anything.
No.
But like, there's certain lines in the songs that are like dedicated to certain people and what they went through. So like the first verse, there's like 6 or 7 people that I kind of like sub-mention while I tell the story of like one dude who got brought down by all of this and dragged people down, and then the second verse, who got brought down by all of it. And the second verse comes in, and it kind of talks about how that guy brought down this girl, and then she ended up dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the second verse I actually started writing the first half 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And it was actually like a friend of mine going through an abusive relationship and me having gone through that before. And like, that's when I wrote the first verses when I was going through shit. So when I started writing the second verse, I was kind of reflecting on that. And then that was like the first half of the second verse. And then the second half actually started out as its own song. And that was after Danny passed away. So I started writing that as its own song. And then once I like finished that, I kind of realized like it worked together to tell like the full story. So it kind of got tacked on and made it as like the second part of the second verse. And then like when I record it, there's actually a third verse, and it's from my perspective, and it's like my apology and everything I reflect on and feel guilty for and look back on. And then it's like that's kind of the whole thing, but it's like 3 or 4 different stories and like 12 or 13 different people, but it's told as like one story.
That's fucking amazing, man. Like that's really cool. Like just expressing like telling a story like that through music. That's something I've never really seen something like that in like one song or anything like that. That's amazing. Like I could see that in like a book or a novel or something, or a movie or a TV show. Why not put it in songs?
The fun one. That's the fun one. So I just came up with a new album plan that I'm working on after. We're gonna say drugs and drama, but that's not like
working title.
Yeah, working title. But after that one, I started writing a book because we went through some like almost Kool-Aid acid testy kind of stuff back in the day, right?
Kinda.
Names will be changed, but the story remains the same.
Basically.
And like, that's not it either. Like, I've moved around a lot. There's been a lot with my music, and there's been a lot of other like side stories to my life. But like, a lot of really crazy stuff has happened, and like, everybody goes through things, and I get that, but I express myself through like music and stories. That's how I get my shit out.
Same
right?
here.
Like, yeah, so I kind of just started like writing a book to reflect on everything, but like as I was writing it, it kind of like started to become a rap, and then I was like, oh, like that's kind of cool. So I got this idea where like I want to write the book, but write it as a rap, and then kind of dissect it by like each song is its own chapter. So it would be like chapter 1, chapter 2, or like the prologue, the epilogue, like all that.
It's like a concept album sort of thing.
Yeah, and call it like the trilogy or something. I don't know. Again, working title. But like when I release it, I kind of want to release it as like a full album CD and then actually release a book. But it would be like the lyrics to the album.
Awesome. That's like a companion sort of thing.
Yeah, like an audio book, but it's an actual album. Like
so cool. That's so cool. So are you like a big reader or anything like that?
I like to read, yeah. I get in and out with it. Like I'll get really into reading and then I won't touch a book for ages.
Do you have a favorite book or a favorite author?
I really liked the Mortal Instruments. They butchered the TV shows and the movie. Like, if that's where you're getting your basis of it off of is, like, Shadowhunters and all of that stuff. But, like, that's, like, what my tattoos are from, actually, these ones. So I got, mind my mess. This tattoo and one on my other wrist. That tattoo. Those ones. They're runes from the Mortal Instruments for healing and strength that I got after Danny and Mercedes passed away. But yeah, no, those books are killer. I like fantasy and that stuff. I'm also a Lord of the Rings nerd.
I love Lord of the Rings. I fucking love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, my family has a framed picture of Middle Earth in our living room.
That's awesome. I absolutely adore Lord of the Rings. It's just something I can always like go back to. It's just like, so interacting with fans, I've seen some great experiences with you interacting with fans, signing titties and whatnot. But if you had some like bad or sketchy interactions with fans.
I don't know if I have. I don't I think I've actually had some pretty like solid experience with that so far. I mean, like, sometimes you'll get in a new place where, like, nobody knows who you are yet, so you don't get, like, much of a reaction fan-wise, or, like, something, like, kind of, people are kind of like, cool, that was cool, whatever, who are you? Like, you know what I mean? But, like, for the most part, everybody I've met's been pretty chill. Like, I've never felt, like, creeped out by anyone. Like, I even actually had, my Perry Sound show. I crashed with two people. They were like, I met everyone after the show and everybody was super chill and drinking. Because, like, I tend to, like, hang out in the crowd a lot more. I don't do the, like, I act like an artist off to the side. I, like, do my set and then I go party with everybody. Like, so, like, I've had some.
You're just another one in the crowd.
Yeah, so I've had some generally pretty good experience with that. I've never had to, like, do the, like, yo, dude needs the boot, or this guy's creeping me out, or anything like that. But yeah, no, those guys, I met up with them, we got talking and whatever, and then, yeah, we just, like, went back, drank, smoked together, like, had a joint together, and then I just crashed on the couch and peaced out in the morning, and yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
If anything ever happens, I ever blow, cross my fingers. If I ever blow, then I can be like, she crashed on my couch once.
It's this couch right here. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. See, like, once again, I'm not as versed in the rap game as I should be for this podcast, technically. But I know the punk scene is a lot like that. There's a lot of, like, helping each other out, like, you do it your own way, but like we're all in this together sort of thing. It's not like, oh, fuck this, fuck that guy because he's doing better than the rest of us or anything like that.
Yeah, I got to see that with the punk community actually when I did my show in Barrie recently. That was really cool, and it was a super dope scene, and everybody was super nice, super welcoming. Like, yeah, it was really cool. Actually, one of them from 30 going on 13, super good. Check them out. Yep. They're from Barrie. I think, actually, don't quote me on that. But they're really good, and, like, the dude Mike, I think he's the guitar player. Yeah, it was guitar, not bass player, I don't think. He's offered to do some stuff in the future for tracks and that. So, like, because of the vibe on my Drugs and Drama album, I'm thinking that that'll really work with where I'm going with it. So that's kind of cool. But it was nice, like, yeah, what you said. Like, punk communities, like, you think of it as scary. Oh, my God. Like, people think punk and they're like, oh, my God, goth or something. But they're super welcoming, super chill, super dope, lively crew, like, very, yeah.
You especially find the right set of people like that. It's just, yeah, they're really great when you get to know them all like that. So is there anyone in the future you want to collab with, like any, like, dream collab, or any, like, not even just dream collab, but, like, could happen, like, tomorrow collab sort of thing?
A
lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a couple. I've talked to a couple artists already who have agreed to do collabs with me, but, like, I got other stuff right now in my life I got to situate first, so none of that's happening for a long time.
Fair enough.
And, like, you can now say you heard it here first. Because I haven't actually, like, really told anybody who. And, like, some people won't be familiar with them because, like, I tend to get into, like, sub-rap genres and stuff. But Armani White is one.
Okay.
And we'll see if that one happens for sure, but he's definitely agreed to it. But he's working on album stuff himself, and I'm working on stuff, so we're both waiting till that's, like, over with to talk about it again. He does a couple songs like Public School and, like, 6 or 7 and stuff. They're just, like, songs that I'm, like, super into. New York City Window, all that. I got, like, in a phase right before I started doing shows there when I was hyping up my first one where I got super into him and, like, used his tracks on, like, hype up videos for my show. So I'm super excited. Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited that he's, like, gotten back to me about it and that. But the one that I'm really excited about, it's still not going to happen for a while because I'm working on my own things, is Easy Mac.
Uh-huh.
So, like, he's done stuff with, like, Mercules and stuff like that. He's a Canadian rapper.
Okay.
He does that, like, Torture Genius. It's easy. He's like, mind of a torture genius. and tore to pieces. Like, anyway, he's good. Check him out. I've been a fan of him for like a while now, and like, I don't know, it's just cool that he's agreed to do that to me, because like, I still fangirl. like I'm still that person who, like, even though I'm in the music industry and I do things, I like meet people and things happen, and I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
You're still one of the fans at heart. That's good.
Yeah. So like the fact that he's like, yeah, cool, anytime. He's like, basically like, whenever you're ready to do it, let's go. And I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. But yeah, like the first time I've like out and said like, yeah, Easy Max down to collab. But like, yeah, it's just really cool.
Well, I'm glad you seem really excited about it, so that's awesome. We'll look forward to hearing that in the future. So you've done collabs with other people in the past, obviously. Is like the hardest thing about it is probably just trying to get everyone in one room together, I bet.
Yeah. It's a lot easier now to do collabs because you can like send everything online and do all of that, right? You don't necessarily have to be in the same room. But if I was doing stuff like, say, with like a live band or something like I did in Barrie recently, we're gonna record a track together with Hubbard's Hustle.
Oh yeah. They fucking killed it.
Yeah,
they were so fucking good.
Collab.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do like more shows and practice more together and stuff, and do little things here and there. Like, they're still gonna have their own thing, and I still have my own thing, but we'll fuck with each other once in a while. But like I said, like with rap and that, it's easy. You can do shit online, but like when it comes to stuff like that, it does become harder because you have more people, like you said, to like schedule with and work around. Like, people have jobs and lives and things going on outside of it. So like, yeah, like when I worked with J Hill, it was like just a matter of getting like, here's the 2 days we have that work or whatever, and like setting it up because there's like travel time and things, and like, you know, every different song and like depending on what you're doing is gonna have its like pros and cons and spices.
It's all part of the process, though, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that bit of like bit of turmoil, a bit of stuff like that. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like, otherwise it'll just be mediocre, right? Oh, so, what's your favorite part about the musician life?
It's fun. Like, I don't know. Like, honestly, like, I've been to like a lot of places, and like I did a lot of traveling. Like, there was time when I was touring when I was putting on like 10K a month on my car and stuff, and like some people would look at me and do like, you were like gonna sleep in your car, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, you're crazy. But like, I've had so many cool experiences and met so many cool people, and like there's just like for example, like Sin and Drastic and Tyler and Gab and all of them in Ottawa and Gatineau, such solid people. Like, I love them to death, and I will forever, because like, and that's like the best part of it, is like how fun it is and the people I meet, because I travel all over and I meet all these people, and like, they didn't know me through a fucking hole in the wall when I moved out that way, but they met me and they were like, we like your vibe, you're gonna hang with us now. And they ended up being like, it was like hanging out at my apartment back in the day, man. It was like the exact same. Like, and I tried to explain them, they'd be like, whoa, we're sorry, stuff's going down. I'd be like, dude, you have no idea, this is like what I'm used to. Like, this was like, it was like a blast from the past, and it was like, but like, that's the thing, is like, you meet so many different people, but you meet so many people too along the way who you're like just like you, vibe with you, and you're like, yeah, you got a part of my heart now. And like, it's just, that's the best part. It's like, it's fun, and the people I meet.
We talked about like the whole USB stick incident, but you had any like bad gig incidents, like a bad venue or just like sketchy crowds or anything like that?
Trying to think. I've had a couple like oddball ones. Like, I wouldn't say bad, like they're venues I've done before or something, but I did have like one oddball one. It still went well and everything, and I had a good time and met cool people and all of that. But it was like, it was an all-female show, and I didn't know what was like going into it. But when I came into it, I realized it was like all different genres. So it was hard to get a crowd out because it was kind of like nobody vibed with everything on the show. but everybody who was there had a good time together and everything. But it was just like weird because it would go from like a folky thing to like pop to rap to, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was kind of cool because like as somebody who's into genre bending, it gives you a lot of people to meet and like potentially work with in the future and that. But like, I think when I did my boat one, dope venue because it was on a yacht, and everyone's like, "That's so cool, Toronto, a yacht." And I was like, "Yeah, super dope." The boat was doing this for my entire set. Oh. I almost puked on stage. Like Toronto was like one of my best, but one of my worst, but one of my best experiences because it was a huge learning curve. It was one of my first shows, and it went like so terrible, but so good. Because it was like a miracle I even pulled it off. Because like my USB screwed up, my sound screwed up, I almost puked because the boat was rocking. I literally like I was like rapping Najida like, whoop, and then just like kept going.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh man, get seasickness while you're playing on stage. That's fucked up.
Yeah, we made it work though, so. And that's the thing though, is like, because that's, even if they go bad or you have a bad venue, for any artist this applies, if you can make it work and you make it through it, they're going to respect you anyway. Doesn't matter. Like, some of your worst shows will end up being some of your best experiences if you don't just out and bail. You know what I mean? If you pull it through and you push it through, yeah, because it becomes A, a learning curve for you, and B, everybody in that crowd who saw you go through that and push through it with a smile on your face goes like, yeah, they're going to work hard. Like, they're going to push at this. Like, they don't see you as a slacker or mediocre or a hobbyist or whatever they want to call you.
I understand. Yeah. You show up.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a respect thing.
So if you could change one thing about the music industry, what would it be? It's a big question, I know.
There's two things. I'd change the epidemic of you don't actually have to be talented to get somewhere.
Fucking
as long as you push a gimmick and have a social media presence, you're golden. I'm over that. But secondly, I would change, and I haven't run into this as much as I know some have, but it's that barrier of being a female artist.
I was going to ask
get
about that.
75% of people who are going to try the will she sell sex as a gimmick thing? Will she sleep with me to get somewhere? Will she do this? Will, you know what I mean? And you'll get that in about 75% of people who are going to, and they won't even outwardly say it, they're just going to come on you that way.
Just the vibe they're putting out there.
But that's the thing, is like people like Sin and Drass and all of them, and even Malcolm and all of them, and Robbie, they're all people who I have respect for because they've never come to be that way. They've always looked at me as a person and a respect as an artist for how hard I work and how much I care about other people and my work and things like that. They've never come to me that way, but there are people, and there's the ones who will respect you when you do the, like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I've never even so much as kissed anyone to get farther anywhere, you know what I mean? Like, and, like, I have a huge respect for myself in that. There's going to be the percentage of people who respect you for making that decision, and then the other percentage who get bitter and try to snub you for making that decision. And that's something I wish would change, because if it was on the other foot, like, I'm not going to be like, yo, you want to do a track with me? Eat my pussy. You know what I mean?
It doesn't really work that way.
Exactly. It's like, see how that sounds? Like, who are you, Harvey Weinstein?
That's fucked up. I figured there'd be something like that in, like, the game, but I didn't know if it was, like, prevalent or anything like that.
And it's not huge. Like I said, like I haven't dealt with as much as some people because I kind of did that from the beginning and made it very clear that I wasn't going to do that. Like I barely even show cleavage. Like, like I might show my belly once in a while or something, but like I've kind of made it clear from the beginning that's not what I'm about. Like I have something to say, so listen to it, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, and that's helped me weed out that and dealing with that as much.
That's right. So, do we have anything else you want to talk about here? Yeah, we pretty much hit it all. Oh, fuck. Anything else? Do you have any dates you want to promote or anything like that?
January 31st, and I think it's at the Heartwood. I'm going to be doing, like, part of a set with Hubbard's Hustle again, I think. We're going to get a couple practices in before and basically do, like, what we did in Barry here. Yeah, I think besides that, I'm mostly just focusing on the album, and there's no dates for any of that yet, so
just people just find your stuff on Spotify and a little bit of your stuff on SoundCloud as well, and follow you on Instagram, obviously.
I'm up on Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, Apple Music, all of it. But that's pretty much it.
Fuck yeah! That's awesome, man. You're doing great. I'm fucking a big fan of like how far you've come, even in just this short time here. And even though I haven't been the most vocal of fans since day one, I've been keeping an eye. Out. One of the friends, you got to keep an eye on how we're doing. Is she all right? Everything all good? But yeah, I'm really amazed and impressed with how far you've come with this, and I'm actually just honored to have you on my podcast here.
You know, that was great to be on. It's cool to do it with like, you know, somebody you actually know. So. Yeah. But yeah, no, this one's definitely been like the easiest like vibe one. But that's like I said, when you know somebody, it's easier to just like shoot the shit about.
I'm sitting on my couch doing this in my living room, and I'm sure you're sitting in your bedroom just doing this. That's why I like doing it so well. Like, it's super accessible this way. Is there anything else you want to shout out, or anybody else you want to shout out real quick?
Shout out to your podcast. Shout out to Ian Holm, because he helped me record my first EP.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mateo, which I think I've already done, because she does the photography and she stays out with me till like 4 a.m. sometimes to do things, and it's a bitch, but I love her for it.
Fuck yeah.
And you know, just shout out to everybody along the way who's had a partner, like, and like everybody knows who they are, like friends wise, everything, like, because everybody's contributed in some way, whether it's like a word of moral support or like being at a show or like I have your song on my playlist or like I like it every time you post this or whatever it is. Like it contributes, and thank you.
And just one more time, the date at Heartwood again.
January 31st.
January 31st with Hubbard's. Sorry, what's their name?
Hubbard's Hustle.
Hubbard's Hustle. God, sorry, you guys. You guys are fucking awesome. All right, man. I'm so glad you came on and did this. I'm glad we got it done. Kwalshyy, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on here, man.